Hey guys, welcome to the channel. As you see in the thumbnail, what if Naruto got married with Kushina and get lemon harem? Before I start, please do support for more awesome content, and subscribe my channel and like this video. Go support and follow the Kij for writing that awesome fanfic, and also make sure to comment on this story. Link in the description. Uzushigakure was a thriving shinobi village home to the Uzumaki clan. The shinobi and kunoichi of the Uzumaki clan are famous for their skill in fuinjutsu, being feared in many of the greater ninja villages such as Iwagakure, Kumogakure, and Kirigakure. Uzushigakure was not only known for its shinobi but the fact all of the Uzumaki clan was brimming with vitality, also making it known as the village of longevity. Uzushigakure was an island located close to the land of waves. The main defense for the island and its inhabitants were the whirlpools surrounding the island. Being an island, the Uzumaki had to make do with the land they had. They constructed many high-rise buildings to house its occupants comfortably. Naruto was one of the many orphans in Uzushigakure. His mother passed away when she gave birth to him, and his father was a jounin who died in the line of duty. Many of the caretakers of the orphanage agreed Naruto was no normal child. He was strong, courageous, and considerably more intelligent than any child his age should be. Belonging to the Uzumaki clan, some would ask why he wasn't adopted, having an idea as to why it may have had to do with his maturity since he practically raised himself. Accompanied by such qualities, the couples and individuals looking to adopt children thought he'd be just fine in the future and looked to helping other children, assuming someone would take him eventually. As a child, Naruto wasn't too tall for his age, measuring up to 3 feet 9 inches. A fit lean body. He also had crimson hair like most Uzumaki. But Naruto had captivating violet eyes that only a rare few in the world possessed. Naruto was a lonely child. By being smarter and stronger than the others, it secluded him from them. Sitting by himself on a hill overlooking a playground with plenty of kids enjoying themselves sat Naruto with a neutral expression. They were playing ninja, their parents watching them to make sure they didn't get hurt. Naruto had seen shinobi and kunoichi quite often since Uzushigakure was a ninja village. Most of them held themselves with pride, while some seemed affected deeply at what they'd had to do and experienced, giving them his respects every time he passed them. After all, it took a special kind of person to serve their country. It was one of his aspirations of becoming one of the greatest shinobi in this era, that and protecting anyone dear to him. Clutching his pants, he made an oath to himself, once he finds someone truly precious to him, that he would protect them for everything he was worth. Standing up, he made his way to leave and go back to the orphanage. When he saw someone kind of lonely, he decided to go and try to be friends with her. Kushina wasn't having a good time at the park. Her mother told her to go play and try to make some friends while she was in the hospital receiving her checkup. She still couldn't believe she was going to be an older sister. Sure, she was kind of a klutz, and she wasn't stupid or anything, it was just hard to mix in with the other kids. Hearing a voice snap her out of her thoughts. "Hey, what's your name?" someone said behind her. Kushina turned around and looked at Naruto questioningly. She stared at him incredulously, and it made him kind of uncomfortable. Assuming she didn't want to talk to him, apologizing quickly, he started to walk away before he heard her reply. "My name is Kushina Uzumaki, what's yours?" Turning around, he saw her with a small smile, making him smile in return. "It's Naruto." He extended his hand and she shook it gently. "It's nice to meet you, Naruto-san," scratching the back of his head before replying, "Just call me Naruto. I'm not one for formalities." Kushina smiled and replied, "Just call me Kushina then." With a nod from Naruto, he asked, "Do you want to play a game?" Sounding more like his age than he usually did. With an ear-splitting grin, Kushina replied, "Sure, how does tag sound, Databane?" Naruto looked confused for a moment before he ecstatically responded, "Sure, let's go." Kushina was thankful that Naruto hadn't made fun of her for her verbal tick. Smiling, she came along and started to play tag with him. For the rest of the day, they played games with each other. Kushina didn't mind that Naruto was better than her in some aspects at all. In fact, she enjoyed a challenge. It was nearing dusk when they finally stopped playing. Kushina's mother came to the park to her surprise find her daughter playing with a handsome boy. Whenever Kushina tried to play with others her age, she was always the black duckling of the group and never really participated in any games with them. "Kushina-chan, come over here and bring your friend," called a soft feminine voice. Naruto looked over to the source of it to find a stunningly beautiful woman that he could easily tell was Kushina's mother. She had mesmerizing violet blue eyes just like Kushina. She stood around 5 feet 6 inches by his guess, and had the body of a kunoichi besides her obviously pregnant stomach. Kushina ran to her mother, while Naruto at a much slower pace made his way over. Smiling at the two children, she said, "It seems you made a friend, Kushi-chan. I'm proud of you." Blushing in embarrassment, Kushina stuttered out her reply, "Mao, Ka-chan, don't embarrass me in front of Naruto." Smiling deviously, "Oh my Kushi-chan, you wouldn't happen to have a crush on him already now, would you?" Naruto and Kushina blushed because they did like each other for the short span of time they had spent together. Laughing at her handiwork, she figured she would introduce herself to the young boy. With a serene smile, she spoke, "I'm Akane Uzumaki, Kushina-chan's mother. It's nice to meet you." Naruto bowed slightly before responding, making Akane arch an eyebrow. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki. It's nice to meet you, Akane-san." With a cheerful smile, Akane said, "Just call me Akane if you want." Turning to Kushina, she continued, "It's time we go back home, Kushina, and make dinner. Naruto-kun can come over for dinner if it's okay with you." "Are you sure? I don't want to be a bother, and the orphanage might get worried if I don't come back before it becomes dark?" questioned the young boy. Realizing the handsome young boy in front of her had no immediate family, she realized he must have always been lonely. He looked around, a year older than Kushina, and she had just turned 7. Being the daughter of the Uzuki, she had certain privileges in the village. Smiling before she replied, "I'm sure they won't have a problem with it. Now do you want to enjoy dinner with Kushi-chan and me? Tonight we're having my homemade salt ramen?" she questioned with a grin. Before he could respond, Kushina squealed in happiness and hugged her mother very gently. Her mother was due in a month after all. "We're having salt ramen for dinner?" questioned Kushina in a quivering voice as if she couldn't believe it, laughing good-naturedly at her daughter's antics. With a nod of her head at her daughter, who squealed with even more delight, she turned to Naruto, who looked dumbfounded. "What's ramen?" asked Naruto with an inquiring voice, looking genuinely confused. Silence reigned from the two crimson-haired women, both of them having different thoughts about the situation at hand. Kushina couldn't believe he didn't know what ramen was. "It is the food of the gods, the delectable noodles, the mouth-watering broth." That solved it. He was coming whether he liked it or not in her mind. Akane just had a bemused expression. She knew with pride that she made some of the best ramen in all of the Uzumaki clan. The broth she had at home should be finished simmering by now. Kushina grasped Naruto's hand and started or tried to pull him towards her family home, but he was bigger and stronger than her, so it didn't actually work. Kushina looked at Naruto with an almost crazed look in her eye before stating, "Simon, you have to try Ka-chan's ramen, it's the best, I swear." Laughing at her daughter's escapades, Akane waited for Naruto's answer. Was this how it felt to have a family? Granted, he still just thought of Kushina as his friend, but Akane had definitely struck a chord with him. Akane was how he envisioned a mother to be. With every word she had said to him, he could tell she genuinely cared about him. Nodding in response to Kushina, he just let her drag him away, all the while Akane was trailing behind them with a happy smile on her face, which was reciprocated by Naruto and Kushina both. Arriving at Kushina and Akane's home, he was astounded as to how nice it was. It wasn't huge by any margin, but it just seemed and felt like how he imagined a family home would be. It was cozy, the atmosphere was jovial, and whatever was cooking in the kitchen smelled fantastic. Kushina had practically dragged him to the dinner table so that he could try her favorite version of ramen. She was practically bouncing with enthusiasm. Naruto shared some of these feelings because most of the events he was included in today were some of the first experiences in all of his whole life. Akane came from the kitchen with 2 steaming bowls of shio ramen for Naruto and Kushina. Setting them in front of her daughter and her friend, she went back to get her bowl. Naruto had waited before Akane had come back to begin eating, but Kushina was barely restraining herself from digging in. He couldn't blame her, he supposed it was her favorite dish after all. Coming back into the room with her own bowl of ramen, Akane sat down on the opposite side of them. She clapped her hands together and said "Itadakimasu," which was reciprocated by Naruto and Kushina both. Kushina, not waiting even a second after speaking, started to eat her ramen, not even savoring its flavor. Naruto, in a much more peaceful manner, took a small number of noodles with his chopsticks before lifting them to his mouth and chewing it before swallowing. Akane just stared at Naruto awaiting his reaction. He had his eyes closed and his face in a neutral expression. After swallowing the mouthful of noodles, he opened his eyes to see Kushina's mother staring at him with a raised eyebrow, scratching the back of his head in embarrassment. "This is definitely the best food I've had in my life." Kushina nodded vigorously, agreeing with him 100%. Akane just gave a heartwarming smile at him and thanked him for the compliment before eating her ramen as well. After thanking Akane for the wonderful dinner, and promising Kushina that they would play together again, Naruto was feeling fantastic. He was walking towards the orphanage along with Akane. She promised to walk him back. After all, it was getting dark outside. Breaking the silence, "Thank you for everything today, Akane-san. It was nice meeting you and Kushina both," said the young crimson-haired boy with a smile. Giggling before her reply, "It's definitely not going to be the last time, Kushina-chan, and I enjoyed your company too much for this to be a one-time occasion." Smiling and giving a nod of approval at this, they continued walking to the orphanage in tranquil silence. When they arrived, the caretakers were worried as to where Naruto had been for the past few hours. Thankfully, Akane was there to calm them and explained that she had been with him the entire time. "For month time skip. These past months have been great. Kushina and I were learning the basics of Fuinjutsu at the Uzumaki Sealing Academy. Kushina had excelled in Kekai barrier Fuinjutsu, while I was more attuned to Jukuken Fuinjutsu. We were just learning the basics. After all, every Uzumaki is proficient in using Fuinjutsu. It's just some are better at other aspects of it. We've also become nearly inseparable. We're always there for each other no matter the circumstances, and we trust each other with about everything. Both of us wanted to become shinobi as well. She wanted to be a kunoichi specializing in Iryo ninjutsu, while I wanted to be a combat shinobi that specializes in nin and taijutsu. Kushina's little sister was born 3 months ago too. I've never seen her so nervous and happy in the time I've known her to be holding her little Imuto. Akane looked like she was glowing after the birth of her daughter. She had named her little baby girl Misaki after her mother. Naruto had seen a flash of sadness on her face for a split second before giving Kushina and little Misaki an heartwarming smile. He knew why she was sad. After all, who wouldn't be when you're missing one of the most important family members? Flashback. "Where's Kushina's father, Akane-san? I haven't met him yet in all the time I've known you both," inquired Naruto. Akane had a saddened expression that worried Naruto. In all the time he's known her, she's always been smiling and easygoing. With a heavy sigh, giving him a sad smile before she responded, "He died in the last shinobi war. His squad was positioned at the rearguard protecting the army while we retreated from the enemy shinobi." A lone tear escaped her beautiful eyes and her choked voice made his heart lurch as she continued. "His squad was injured, but he had a job to do. Defending his comrades, he sacrificed himself in doing so. When a person has something precious they want to protect, they can become strong. He wanted to protect this village and me," she finished with a sad smile. "I'm sorry for your loss. He seemed like an admirable man befitting for such a wonderful woman," replied Naruto, trying to lighten the mood, nudging his shoulder playfully while giving a teasing smile. "Aren't you just a little flatter sometimes? Kushi-chan is going to be lucky in the future." Naruto blinked at what she said, not really sure how he should respond. He just scratched the back of his head while giving a grin. Flashback end. What Akane had said to him had made such a huge impact on him. When he was alone he had nothing he wanted to protect but himself. Now he had Kushina-chan, Akane-chan, and little Misaki-chan. He promised to himself that he wouldn't allow them to face any more hardships in their lives. He would be the one to shoulder their burdens, and the shield to protect them from any harm. "I'm still a child though. I just want to be strong to protect them," thought Naruto determinedly, trying to rid himself of such thoughts and focus on the present. He followed behind Akane carrying Misaki while holding Kushina's hand. They were finally leaving the hospital after the doctors had told Akane she and Misaki were ready. Naruto was carrying all of the bags of clothes they got for little Misaki. Once they made it home, Naruto set the bags down and went to go help Akane with the more physical tasks around the house. While Naruto and Kushina were busy with their chores around the house, Akane had just finished putting little Misaki to bed in her crib. Her daughter and Naruto both wanted to become shinobi. She knew it was a dangerous lifestyle, but it took a special individual to protect and serve their country. She was a retired jounin for Yuzushiogakure after all. She knew just how terrifying war was. She was by no means a censor ninja, but she could feel Naruto and Kushina's dormant chakra reserves. They were already around high genin and they hadn't even been trained. She decided that they could use the extra help since their chakra control was going to be shot if she didn't help them now. It also didn't help that the world was once again going into turmoil. It would only be a few years before the Third Shinobi War would break out, and she wanted them to be ready. They had both finished their chores when they heard a voice from down the hall call to them. "Naruto, Kushina, come to the backyard, I need to talk to you," yelled Akane seriously. Assuming something happened, they both rushed outside to find Akane sitting there with a smile. "While it's been about 6 years since I've been an active ninja, I was hoping you two wouldn't mind if I taught you a couple of things," she said with a grin. Time skip 3 months. Naruto and Kushina soon found out that Akane was a slave driver when it came to training. They weren't complaining though, they were one step closer to their dream of becoming ninja. Akane was explaining to them how special both of their chakra was. Kushina's was tensile, almost like chains. Akane had explained that she had inherited it from her, while Akane's wasn't as tensile as Kushina's. Naruto's chakra didn't share their same properties. Akane had described his chakra as golden and crimson, almost like the tailed beasts. Since they were both Uzumaki, naturally their chakra reserves were nothing to laugh at. Even young, their bodies were full of vitality, and had more chakra than most experienced genins from other hidden villages. During their training period, Naruto had turned 9 and they celebrated his birthday at their house. His birthday was a spectacular affair. Having people who genuinely care for you celebrate it with you was incredible. He honestly felt on top of the world. He didn't ask for any birthday presents, their presence was enough for him. But Kushina and Akane were stubborn about it, and got him stuff anyway. Akane had gotten him an outfit that she thought would match him. A long-sleeved black shirt with gray strips running down the sleeves, black umbu-style pants, and ninja sandals. Kushina had purchased a set of 3-pronged kunais that were made just for him. Not long into his training, Akane had realized Naruto was a prodigy in the ninja arts. He took to her chakra control training like a fish in water, even with his reserves. His speed was nothing to scoff at for a 9-year-old boy, already bordering mid-chunin. His strategy was nothing to cut short either. He was extremely intelligent for a boy his age as well. Realizing that the village's shinobi were more on edge, he questioned her to see if a major conflict was en route, showing his analytical skills. Kushina was no pushover either. While she may not have the same qualities Naruto has, her skill in barrier fuinjutsu was stunning. Her Kongo Fusa, adamantine sealing chains, gave her the perfect setup for finishing moves on enemy shinobi since they were practically unbreakable. Her skill in Iryo ninjutsu was getting to the point where they wanted her to work in the hospital to help treat certain patients. Yuzushiogakure Kage office. Kenshin Uzumaki sighed. The Third Shinobi War was looking inevitable. Sooner or later it would happen. The decline of power between the 5 great nations was having its effects on the smaller nations. Already small skirmishes were happening between his shinobi against Kiri and Kumo's shinobi. His nation, along with Konoha, and suffered dearly in the last war. Konoha had lost its second Hokage, while the Uzumaki were targeted for their sealing capabilities, and vitality on the battlefield. Being able to fight for days straight caused that. The council had pressured him into trying to make special shinobi to safeguard the Uzumaki clan should Yuzushiogakure fall. As he looked at the 48 candidates selected for a program that would make soldiers to protect the Uzumaki clan, one stood out in particular. His daughter and granddaughter alike had taken a liking to this one boy. Uzumaki Naruto, an orphan from the Second Shinobi War with no immediate family besides that of the Uzumaki clansmen, he had a natural aptitude for the shinobi arts, as his daughter had told him. This program he would be sending the boy into would have a low survivability rate, as the medical professionals they had approached estimated only 10% of the candidates would survive the augmentations. He never liked this aspect of leading, but the path to hell is paved with good intentions. If these individuals survived, then they would be able to safeguard his clan in the upcoming war. Signing his approval to forcefully remove the individuals from their homes and draft them into the shinobi forces. Naruto hated school. He's pretty smart, but by Kami, if he has to go through another lecture about anything it would be too soon. Thankfully Kushina had something planned that would make the day better. All the students were coming back from their lunch break and taking their seats about to resume class when a resounding yelp of pain came from the teacher and some students. Kushina and Naruto in the hall now!" comically yelled the teacher, rushing out of the class. It had been Kushina's idea to put pin needles on the seats of the teacher and some of their peers. They sat in the hall for the remaining period of the class, waiting for the teacher's scolding, and whatever disciplinary measure they were going to get would be better than having to listen to the rest of that lecture about the history of sealing techniques. After cleaning the restrooms, the teacher sat them down and politely requested them to tone down the pranks. As long as they didn't cause any harm to anyone, they were fine. Reluctantly agreeing to the terms, the teacher then informed them that they were going to be heading to the Uzumaki Mass Temple tomorrow. The next day, the temple was a grand place. It was gated off and had that surreal feel to the surrounding area. The temple was raised off the ground by around 8 feet, and above the entrance to the inside bore the Uzumaki swirl. "Get over here and look at these masks, Naruto!" Kushina yelled while dragging Naruto. Being around Kushina affected Naruto. He didn't feel the need to seclude himself from others and just acted how he pleased. Laughing jovially, alright, what do you want to show me? Look at these masks, aren't they kinda strange? It feels like someone is staring back at us, Tbane, whispered Kushina while hiding behind Naruto. While many felt unsettled at the sight of the Oni masks, Naruto and Kushina both felt at ease and as if someone was watching over them in a good way. Looking around, both of them noticed some of their classmates who weren't from the Uzumaki clan looked disturbed, while some shivered in fear. Their fellow clansmen and women looked at peace. Kushina looked at Naruto with a cute blush on her face. Sure, they were young, but she was allowed to have a crush on her best friend, right? He looked so handsome all the time, and that warm smile he reserved for her made her feel butterflies in her stomach. There would also be a knot in her stomach when she would see him talking to other girls. "Simon, there's a store nearby where we can get something to eat. Let's go before the teacher notices," said Naruto with a mischievous grin matched by Kushina, taking her by the hand, completely missing her cute blush. At the store, paying for their favorite snacks, they ran to a nearby hill and laid down to stare at the clouds, eating in relative silence before it was broken by Kushina. "What do you think is going to happen to us in the future?" questioned Kushina in a solemn tone, noticing her sudden melancholic mood and throwing an arm around her shoulder. "Don't worry about it, we'll be together throughout all of it, along with your family. I'm sure everything will be just fine," he responded confidently. "It's just everyone seems so on edge. Gigi has more work than usual, and even Ka-chan has been increasing our training sessions." Naruto just gave her a grin in response. "When did you get so smart and perceptive, huh?" teased Naruto, and laughed when Kushina gave him a cute pout. "I'm joking, you look too cute whenever you get angry like that," blushing up a storm before she just gave him a light smack to the chest. "Bakutbane, I'm just worried about what might happen," Kushina replied anxiously. "You don't have anything to worry about. I won't let anything happen to you or your family. That's the promise of a lifetime," replied Naruto with determination brewing in his violet orbs and a gentle smile on his face. "What about you, though? You know Ka-chan and I care about you a lot too." Kushina's eyes showing worry for him. "You worry too much, Kushina-chan," he teased with a lazy wave as he started to walk away. That's when he felt the area drop a couple of degrees. Completely stopping and turning to Kushina, she was giving him a sweet smile that reminded him of Akane whenever she got angry. "You better answer me, Tbane," cracking her knuckles. Meanwhile, Naruto just laughed. Kushina was pretty scary sometimes, but he stood tall. "I just care about you a bunch. You're the most important person to me, why no?" Her anger was forgotten, blushing up a storm now. "I'm the most important person to him?" she thought. "Come on, it's getting late. The teacher's probably worried sick. We've tormented them enough today." Nodding dumbly, she just opted to follow him. After a quick scolding, they had convinced the teacher they had gotten separated from the group. Kushina had told him to come to eat dinner with her family since her grandfather was going to be there. Meanwhile, she's dragging him all the way there. Arriving there in record time, they heard shouting from inside. "He's just a child." Recognizing the distraught voice, they ran inside quickly. Naruto had run inside quickly, followed by Kushina. There were 2 people at the table, one being a distressed Akane. He had never seen Akane this angry. She was always so cheerful and always brought a smile to his face. But now it was just righteous feminine fury. The other was an old man that he assumed was Kushina's grandfather. He had a stone-cold expression on his face. The best I can do is give you a week, the other candidates have already been gathered. Get out now! Naruto had to give it to the man, he took the brunt of all of it, and calmly stood up and turned to both of them. It's good to see you, Kushina-chan. You're doing well in school, I'm hearing. Good job. He finished with a proud smile. Gigi, what's going on? Why is Ka-chan crying? Questioned Kushina with a confused expression. You must be Naruto. It's nice to finally meet you. I expect a lot out of you. He finished, completely ignoring all of Kushina's questions. Naruto blinked. In the span of a few seconds, Akane had blurred in front of her father and attempted to slap him. Get away from him, you bastard! She hissed out while yanking her arm away from his grasp. It was nice meeting you, Naruto. You three enjoy your dinner. Naruto realized just how tall he was. He was at least 6 feet and 7 inches tall, he estimated. With that, he disappeared in a water shunshin, leaving the three alone for the time being. Naruto and Kushina had been dead silent. The only noise that could be heard was Akane's hoarse breathing. Ka-chan, what happened? Apprehensively questioned Kushina, her eyes showing worry for her mother. I've never seen her so angry. She's shaking for Kami's sake, she thought, taking a deep breath to compose herself before speaking. Don't worry about it, Kushina-chan. Ka-chan will handle it. For now, let's just enjoy dinner. After dinner, Naruto opted to help Kushina with the dishes before he left, while Akane headed upstairs to put Misaki to sleep. What do you think happened? I've never seen Ka-chan so angry at Gigi, inquired Kushina while staring directly at him. Naruto looked thoughtful for just a moment, recalling what they heard before they stumbled upon the previous situation. Your Ka-sen said something about some boy being a child, right? Kushina nodded in acknowledgement. Does Akane help take care of any other boys besides me that you know of? No. No, she doesn't, answered Kushina after thinking for a moment. Then it probably has something to do with me. I have no idea what though, replied Naruto while staring right back at her. You looked great today, by the way, Kushi-chan, blurted out Naruto out of nowhere with a blush. Kushina quickly averted her gaze so she could hide her blush before her hasty reply. You looked pretty handsome today, Aswell Narukun. Are you two lovebirds done? Teased Akane with a smirk and a devious glint in her eyes. Both Naruto and Kushina stiffened at her voice. She wouldn't ever let them live that down. Taking their silence as acceptance, she gestured to the couch in the living room. Sit down, I need to talk to both of you. She finished seriously. They both made their way to the living room and sat down across from Akane. Kushina-chan, Naruto-kun, I need both of you to remain calm when I tell you this, mainly you, Kushina. Naruto is going to be conscripted into the village's shinobi forces in a week's time. She finished sadly while staring at both of them. Naruto and Kushina both were stunned. On one hand, Naruto was happy he would be able to accomplish his dream of becoming a shinobi and being one step closer to protecting Kushina. He was conflicted though. He was probably going to be forced away from her. Kushina was stunned. They were practically inseparable in the period of time they knew each other. Naruto was one of the most precious people to her. The smiles he gave her always gave her the reassurance everything would be alright. His eyes that held nothing but warmth and good intentions for her. But now he was being taken away from them. It's not the end of the world. I'll see you guys after I'm done training, right? Questioned Naruto, trying to uplift the rather depressing mood. I don't know, Naruto. He said something about other candidates being gathered already. Usually to become shinobi you attend an academy to learn the basic arts, and then build yourself up with the help of a jonin sensei. Taking a breath before continuing, her soft gaze still on Naruto and her daughter. I can only assume he wants to do something special with you and the other candidates he's gathered. Her violet blue eyes holding nothing but worry for him, a frown on her beautiful face. Kushina couldn't bear it anymore. She tried her hardest not to cry in front of Naruto. She felt that she needed to be strong for him. Why is he being conscripted? What's happening? We both noticed that everyone seems on edge, Ka-chan. Her eyes welling with tears, and her breathing becoming labored. She was just too worried about it. She wasn't naive. Something big was happening and Naruto was about to be thrown in the midst of it. As you've said, everyone's on edge. There have been skirmishes on our borders with Kirigakure and Kumogakure. It's a very real possibility that the third great ninja war is about to occur. She finished sadly. Naruto did his best to remain emotionless on the outside. But his eyes revealed everything to Akane, and just went to prove her own point that he was still just a child. Strengthening his resolve before he spoke, I'll just have to train even more than I have been and become strong enough to win and come back to you three. If going to war means that you three can remain safe, I'll do it more than willingly," he exclaimed with sheer determination, filling his violet eyes. This brought a smile to both Kushina and Akane's face. Naruto always had a way with his words. "Well, let's go get your things. You're staying here for the rest of this week. I suppose I'll have to up both of your training. I've been holding back on you both," she stated, her eyes gaining a dangerous glint Naruto and Kushina had never seen, while she started laughing manically, sending shivers down both their spines. Naruto was dead tired even with his fairly large chakra reserves for a person his age. They were nothing compared to Akane's fully grown reserves. She had taught them how to concentrate a leaf on their forehead while they walked across boiling water. All the while trying to break their concentration, she always tried to keep them on their toes. At the most random times, they would have to dodge blunted kunai and shuriken to keep them on edge and always be wary of their surroundings. Other than that, the starting of the week had been great. Akane had given the school the excuse that they were sick for the week, so they could spend time together before Naruto left. Akane had to admit Naruto was a prodigy when it came to ninja arts. His shuriken jutsu was practically perfect, as were his hand seals. She had also come to realize just how intelligent he was. Every time they sparred, he was methodical about every move he made against her. She had tested his chakra natures as well. While most Uzumaki tended to have water and wind chakra natures, his were extremely unusual for an individual with Uzumaki heritage, fire, and lightning. They had to go get some scrolls so he could learn some basic ninjutsu. "I'll be careful, don't worry so much," said Naruto, a little annoyed they'd been hounding him on being careful while using this ninjutsu. Flashing through the hand seals and taking a deep inhale of breath, Katon, Gokaku no Jutsu, fire release, great fireball technique. All of them could feel the heat radiating from the technique. Naruto and the rest of them were in awe of the technique. "Sug," muttered Kushina in amazement, while she playfully nudged Naruto on the back after he finished the technique. She hadn't practiced much combative ninjutsu. She never really liked violence. That's why she'd rather heal and take care of people. Well, I can't say I'm surprised anymore. After Akane had seen what he was capable of in other aspects of the ninja arts, she couldn't find it in her to be surprised anymore. Alright, that should be enough training for the next few days. Let's just enjoy the time we have left," she finished with a smile, while she teared up a bit. "I'm so proud of him. He's progressed so fast for his age, and the way he cares about us is just extraordinary for someone his age," she thought proudly. "Alright, we should probably go to your house, I reek," said Naruto while scrunching his nose due to how he smelled. "I'll make us something to eat, while you two clean up," pinching her nose to articulate how bad they smelled. Naruto had always liked looking at the night sky. It always calmed him whenever he was feeling down or worried about something. "You're always looking at the sky, you know," whispered someone in his ear, startling Naruto from his stargazing. "Ka-chan wanted me to let you know dinner was about to be ready," calming down when he recognized it was Kushina. "She wants to play like that, huh?" he thought deviously. "Well, it's the second prettiest thing I look at, the first one is you," he finished playfully. A cute pink hue tinted her cheeks while she had this sweet smile gracing her features. "That's one of the things I love about you, Twain," she blurted out before slapping a hand over her mouth in embarrassment, a full-blown blush covering her features. She wasn't the only one blushing, no sir. Naruto himself was blushing up a storm, stuttering as he responded, "I love everything about you honestly since I'm going away and I don't know when I'll be back." Taking a deep breath before continuing, "We're just children, but I'm pretty sure I love you, Kushina-chan," he stated with a smile, his eyes radiating his love for her. Taking her hand into his, he put a beautiful promise ring on her finger. Kushina just stood motionless for a second before taking him into a rib-crushing embrace. They just stood there hugging, Kushina just listening to the soft thump of his heartbeat. Naruto just holding her. She smelled great, he realized, like sweet peas. "I never want to leave her, but I don't have a choice," Naruto thought sadly, his embrace becoming tighter. Kushina released him just enough to stare up at him confusingly, just to find him giving her a sad smile with tears brewing in his eyes. "I never want to leave you, Kushina-chan. You mean everything to me, and I don't know how long it'll be before I see you again." he choked out shakily, while his eyes were shut to ward off the coming tears. Taking his handsome face into her hands, she just let her feelings guide her, as she ate him on the lips, the scent a pleasant tingling through both of their developing bodies. Her lips were soft, and so warm he thought it was a dream. His arms locking around her waist, pulling her closer, she tasted as sweet as she smelled. His worries long gone, it was a euphoric paradise to him. Her heart skipped a beat when she felt him pull her closer to him. Interlocking her fingers around his neck, they just took it slow. His lips were kind of rough in a good way, and his smell could only be described as masculine. Their worries flew away as they melted together. It felt as if time stopped for both of them. Kushina was the first one to withdraw from the wow, her cheeks gaining a cute pink hue after realizing what they had just done. Yeah, wow. His sadness was forgotten. All he could keep thinking about was tantalizing the was, and how great it felt to actually hold her in his arms. Oh, before I forget, here, take this. I was going to give it to you before we head to Spain, she stated with a cute blush, her gaze meeting his as she put a locket around his neck. Opening the locket, he found a picture they had taken months ago of them posing together with silly grins on their faces. It was during a festival the village held after a major trade deal was made with Konohagakure. You said something about how you don't know how long it would be before you saw me again. A coy smile on her face before she continued, now you'll be able to see me whenever you want when you're away. She finished a little sadly. Now if you mess with any other girls while you're gone, I'll clobber you to pain, she finished with a vicious grin, showing just how possessive she was already becoming of him. The same could be said for you. If any guy messes with you, I'll tear them apart. He finished smugly. If she was going to claim him, he would be hers, and she would be his, giving her a last quick peck on the lips that surprised her. Simon, your mom is probably wondering where we are. With that, they made their way into the home and had dinner with Akane and little Masaki's an academy student for most of the Second War during canon, and that she didn't really see any of the war. Thanks for another long and very informative review. Honestly, I read all the reviews as I'm writing the chapter to help push me forward. Lord 7th. I mean, it was just a peck on the lips. Sorry if the vivid description of it made it seem like they were having a hot makeout session, but that definitely wasn't the case. That would be extremely weird and off-putting considering they're only around 10 years old. Glad you enjoyed the chapter though. Chapter 3. Naruto. The silver locket Kushina had given him, its smooth texture and the picture inside already easing his worried mind. Kushina truly meant everything to him. Naruto wasn't naive. Most people become shinobi willingly. He could only imagine what the future had in store for him. I only have 2 days left with them. It's cruel a world. It's only been around 2 years since I've met them, and it's been the best years of my life so far. He thought ruefully, a sad smile on his face as he reminisced the wonderful memories. The ring he had given to Kushina had belonged to his mother. It was one of the few possessions he had that belonged to his parents. He didn't know very much about either of them, assuming they loved him like any normal parent would their child. Yet they were gone. His mother passed away shortly after his birth, and his father died as a shinobi. Pushing aside the depressing thoughts, he needed to be strong for them. If he showed any signs of weakness, they wouldn't be able to stop worrying about him. Getting ready for the day, he put Kushina's locket around his neck and tucked it under his shirt, and made his way out of his room. Overlooking the 47 candidates go through the rigorous training regime, he was having second doubts about his decision. So many young faces that were destined for the hell that was war. Some wouldn't survive the augmentations and the others that hadn't may be crippled or die. Having second thoughts again? Questioned a soft voice. Turning around, Kenshin saw his wife Hoshiko giving him a warm smile with 2 cups of tea. Handing him one of the cups, he took a sip and gave her a small smile back. What's troubling you, dear? She continued. What am I doing? From a young age, we're taught to take care of our family. This village is my family, yet so are these kids. I'm condemning them to a fate most jonin wouldn't want any part in. He finished bitterly, a tired sigh escaping his lips. You're having second doubts from your conversation with Akane-chan? She questioned, her inquisitive eyes reading him like an open book. She's the only one who can do that, he thought while laughing softly. Before his expression turned a little serious. Of course I am, she's right. My duty to the village is to protect it no matter the cost. What are 48 lives to 2,000? He inquired softly. His shoulders slumped, and his green eyes holding nothing but sadness. Our daughter thinks I'm a monster, he finished, his voice filled with regret, patting him on the back trying to console him. You know where she gets her anger from, give her time. The way you've described Naruto, I'm sure he'll make it through, though you should give the candidates a choice for the augmentations. She finished sagely, a tranquil smile on her face. With a training regimen like this, they'll make exceptional ninja anyways. Only a training addict like you could come up with something like this. She finished smacking her forehead, shaking her head in disbelief, trying to light up her husband's dejected mood, laughing at her jab before his response. I don't know what I would do without you, he finished, giving her a soft on the cheek. His dejected mood gone with the wind. I'll take your advice about the augmentations as well. With her nod of agreement, they just sat there in comfortable silence, her head resting on his arm, while they just watched the children train. Naruto was watching little Misaki while Kushina was helping Akane make lunch. Misaki was everyone's little bundle of laughter. She had started walking not too long ago, and ever since then she's been a bundle of disaster. Akane had said she was just like Kushina at that age. Much to Kushina's ire and Naruto's laughter. Ever since they'd been much closer. Though they decided to keep the ES on the lips for when they were older. For now, they just chose to each other on the cheek. Whenever they were close to each other, they were always holding hands and talking. Ba ba ba, nah, babbled little Misaki since he was spacing out in his thoughts. Since she was so young she called him Na, which he didn't have a problem with. Little Misaki was in a cute little one piece that was a soft purple color. Naruto assumed it was awfully comfortable as she seemed to favor that one piece to the other ones, making funny faces and tickling her stomach to make her giggle. Naruto-kun, bring Misaki-chan and come have lunch with us, hollered Akane from downstairs. Let's go, Misaki-chan. Taking her up in his arms, he carefully walked down the stairs with her. Coming into the dining room, Naruto strapped Misaki into her high chair and helped set up the table for lunch. What are we having for lunch, Kushina-chan? Akane Oba-san asked Naruto with a gleam in his eyes. The food they cooked had always been exceptional. Lately, Akane had been spacing out. After lunch, he was going to talk to her and see if he could do anything about it. With a small smile, she responded with a calm tone, we're not having anything too heavy for lunch. Just miso soup and rice. Once everything was set, everyone gave a small chorus of itadakimasu and ate, making small talk here and there. Akane Oba-san, lately I've noticed that you've been spacing out a lot. Is there anything I can do? Questioned Naruto quietly with a worried expression. A smile on her beautiful face. Ever since all this business with his conscription, they had gotten considerably closer. You're too smart for your own good sometimes, her smile faltering a little bit, her eyes showing sadness. I can't help but feel responsible for your conscription. Maybe if you hadn't shown such exceptional prowess, Tu-sama wouldn't have selected you. Her smile was gone and a frown on her beautiful face, her eyes teary. You call me your aunt, but I can't even protect you from what's about to happen. Her knuckles white from gripping the sides of her pants. I won't lie to you, Naruto-kun, being a shinobi is despicable. You'll have to kill people's family and lovers. Sure, you'll be strong enough to protect the ones you care about, but can you live with yourself? She finished, sniffled out, feeling his heart clench at the sight of one of his most important people crying. He was by her side in a matter of seconds. She was still a little taller than him, but it didn't matter. He just wrapped his arms around her to try to provide some form of comfort. She was just so scared for him. No child should have to see war at such a young age. Yet here was this boy she loved dearly, about to be sent into the thick of it. She couldn't help but despise her father for such a rash decision. Akane had always made him feel safe from the time he met her. To see her this worried for him only bolstered his anxiety for what may happen. He had to be strong though, steeling his heart before he spoke. Akane Oba-san, you don't have to worry about me so much. I went through your hellish training. But I can't say I'm not afraid either. Every living thing dies someday. Whether it's today or tomorrow, it comes for everything. Taking a deep breath and giving her a small smile before continuing. I'll fight fate itself if that's what it takes to get back to you guys. You're my family. If going to war keeps people from coming to hurt you, it's a small price. I'm just some orphan. You didn't have to accept me into your family. Yet you did so. You showed me what it's like to feel the love of a mother. For that, I'm eternally grateful. I'll do whatever it takes to come home to my family. He finished, giving her a full-blown smile, his violet orbs brimming with happiness and determination. She couldn't help but cry more and clutch him even harder. You better come back to us. If you don't, Kushina and I will come for you in hell, a teary smile on her face, while her eyes held a gleam that promised pain if he didn't keep his word, giving her a vigorous nod showing his agreement before gently slipping out of her embrace. It was getting hard to breath. You should reconcile with your father. Family shouldn't fight like that. Can you do that for me, please? He pleaded with her. She just gave a small smile in return and a solemn nod. I'd do anything for you, Naruto. I just can't help but feel angry at him for this. I understand. Just try, though. He gave her another hug before they continued on with their day. It was the final day before Naruto went away. They hadn't left the house for anything. Akane's delectable ramen broth was simmering away, bound to be ready for dinner. They had brought many board games and movies to play and watch together. The home had been filled with nothing but laughter for hours. Akane's sorrowful state had been nowhere in sight. They had unanimously agreed not to talk about it, and just enjoyed the moment together. That's before little Misaki did something that made everyone joyous. She started taking her first steps. She's been crawling for months and taking little steps with them, helping her along. Kushina was bubbling with joy. Akane had a bright smile on her face as Misaki started walking towards her while babbling mama all along the way. Naruto just had a small smile on his face. This was what he wanted to protect, and he would be damned if he let anything happen to them. Being spaced out in his thoughts, he didn't realize Misaki had walked in front of him and was babbling at him. Oh, you're just too cute, picking her up and making funny faces at her, adding to the joy of everyone around him. Let's take a family photo, chirped Kushina with a gleeful expression on her face. I'll go get the camera. Be right back, yelled Akane excitedly, a bright grin gracing her gorgeous face. Posing for the picture, Akane had a shadow clone take the picture of her holding Misaki, while Naruto was between her and Kushina, his arm around Kushina while Akane had an arm wrapped around his neck holding him and Kushina close. After the picture, there was a knock at the door. Akane created another shadow clone to go accomplish a task elsewhere, while Naruto went to answer the door. Opening the door, it was Kushina's grandfather, and a woman that looked just as beautiful as Akane. Akane was behind him almost immediately. Kaa-chan, Tusama, what are you doing here? She gritted out while crossing her arms, stepping in front of Naruto. We've only come to talk, if you allow us, politely requested Hoshiko, her eyes showing sadness. Akane gave a quick glance to Naruto to find him giving her a smile and a quick nod. You promised, didn't you? He said, giving her a gentle smile, turning around and heading back to the living room, leaving her alone with her parents at the doorway. Looking at his retreating form before turning back to her parents, she gave a small smile. He probably assumed something like this would happen. Stepping to the side of the door, her smile faltering for a moment, before remembering what Naruto had asked of her. We're having ramen for dinner if you two stay long enough. Come on, I'm sure Kushina will be happy to see you, she stated, shutting the door as they walked in. All three of them made their way to the living room to see what was happening. When they got there, Kenshin and Hoshiko was fairly surprised to see Naruto and Kushina have Misaki walking between the two. That's when Kushina saw both of them and jumped up and started running towards them. Ba-chan, Gigi, she exclaimed, a giddy smile on her face, wrapping her arms around Hoshiko. Hoshiko had a happy smile on her face as she returned the embrace. Kenshin settled for a small smile at the sight. He loved all of his family dearly, and would go the extra mile just to make sure they were safe. Turning to Naruto, he noticed that he had thoughtful expression while Misaki was safely secured in his lap, probably tired for all the walking she's been doing. Walking over to him and sitting next to him, taking a deep breath before speaking. You care about them more than any child your age should, he asked, staring at the young boy beside him. Most individuals were slightly intimidated by him, yet this boy who just reached adolescence stared back at him. Of course I do. They mean everything to me, they're the only family I have. He started turning his attention to Kushina and Akane, who were chatting with Hoshiko. I'd do anything for them, he finished with conviction. You and I can definitely agree on that. He started staring at his family along with Naruto. I'm sure you're confused as to what your duties as a shinobi under my will be. You'll be protecting the clan and the villagers. Most of all, you'll be protecting Kushina, Akane, and possibly Misaki, but she's too young to find out just yet. At his questioning gaze, he continued, their chakra is very special, just like yours if my senses are right. They'll more than likely be targeted if this is ever found out. He finished seriously. If going into this program will help protect them, I'll be more than willing to go. I can't know I won't let anything happen to them. He finished with absolute certainty. I've decided that you'll be going into a separate division than the other candidates. You'll still train with them, but they're only meant for defensive measures. They can go on the offense, but I want them as a last resort, just in case. Dinner's ready, you two, let's go eat, said Akane. Let's see if your ramen is as good as mine, teased the giggling Hoshiko, her voice filled with confidence. They stared at each other, sparks of lightning going between them. Before Akane huffed and went into the kitchen, Naruto just sweat dropped at their actions. Ramen was pretty serious business, he had found out. It was time for Naruto to leave. Kushina had been avoiding thinking about it for the past week, just trying to enjoy every moment with him. Yet now the dreaded day had come. Her Gigi had come to pick Naruto up, but he gave us some extra time to say goodbye. Naruto and Kushina's eyes met while he stood next to Kenshin, and he walked up to her and gave her a hug. She couldn't stop the well of tears that had been brimming since she woke up, wrapping her arms around him. I'll miss you, Naruto, so much. The young redhead whispered, her embrace becoming tighter around him. Naruto just closed his eyes while stroking her back, trying to comfort her, taking in her scent of sweet peas. He separated from her. He was going to miss her dearly. I'll come back to you, I promise. As long as I'm alive, you'll be part of me. Giving her a gentle on the cheek. I know you will. When you do come back, just tell me everything, promise? Cried the young girl, crying her heart out into his chest. Naruto's heart lurched at the sight, but he was going to keep the promise he made to himself long ago. To be strong enough to protect the ones he holds dear. That's the promise of a lifetime, Kushina-chan. I'll say it again, Spain, if you look at any other girls when you're gone. She let the threat hang in the air, giving him a small smile. Her eyes reminded him of Akane whenever she was training them into the dirt, promising pain. Nodding vigorously, you'll have nothing to worry about, Kushina-sama, as long as you don't look at any guys. He laughed out, trying to lighten the mood. He knew she trusted him entirely about the matter at hand, and so did he. Wait for me, okay? He finished softly. Baka Spain, of course, I'll wait forever if I have to. She finished, looking up at him with a smile on her face. Both she and Naruto were growing out of their childish stage and slowly but surely were on their way to adulthood. Turning to Akane, who was holding Misaki, her crimson hair flowing in the wind, a gentle smile on her face while her beautiful eyes held sadness in them. Hand Misaki to Kushina, she took him into a gentle embrace. While I'm sad you're going, I'm proud of the young man you've become, she stated. Nodding his head, he embraced her in the hug as well. Thank you, Akane Obasan, I'll miss you and Misaki-chan a lot, replied Naruto, sounding more like a boy his age. Before you go, I have something for you, Naruto-kun, she said, reaching behind her, pulling out a worn hitite that belonged to Yuzushiogekure. This is the hitite I got when I graduated from the academy. I want you to have it. Her smile becoming even brighter at his expression. It looks so old, she must have taken really good care of it, he thought before replying. I'll wear it with pride, Akane Obasan, and I promise to give it back to you when I return, said the young man, rubbing Misaki's stomach, making her giggle. He at her forehead. You'll be grown up when I see you again, little Misaki-chan, he stated softly. Kushina's eyes once again connected with Naruto's. He gave her that smile that always pushed her worries away and made her feel butterflies. Yet now, she couldn't help but feel afraid. Sharing one last hug before Kenshin called out to them, Naruto, it's time to go, he stated in a stern yet soft voice. Kenshin knew very well what they were going through. These were the kind of moments that they would recall on the entire time they were separated. Naruto nodded at him, still embracing Kushina. He whispered to her, I'll come home, don't worry. I love you, he whispered in her ear. Giving her a last taste on her cheek, he stepped away from her. Let's go, Kenshin-sama, voiced the young man. The older man nodded as he placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Using a Mizushunshin, water body flicker, they were both gone in an instant. Kushina couldn't help but put her face into her hands and cry. Naruto was going to be gone for years. Her Gigi said they may be able to communicate sometimes, but it wasn't guaranteed. Feeling a different hand on both of her shoulders, she looked up to find her Bachan and Ka-chan staring at her with sympathetic smiles on their faces. He wouldn't want you to be sad for him, Kushina. You need to be strong for him, stated her Bachan sagely. Nodding at her, they all went inside. It was kind of chilly outside and they didn't want Misaki to catch a cold. Everything seemed like a blur to Naruto. While it was assumed that the Shunshin Jutsu, body flicker technique, was a teleporting technique, all it did truly was enhance the ninja's speed, making it appear that they had teleported. Though it only worked in short distances or the amount of chakra the user has, blinking Naruto found himself in a military-style barracks. Standing in front of a cot with a set of training clothes on it, the shirt has the number 7 on it. Looking around, he saw many of the same cots though without any clothing on it. Turning around, he didn't find Kenshin but a lone ninja. He estimated they stood around 5 feet 7 inches with a lean build, and their face covered by a mask. They had what he assumed was ANBU attire and armor on them. "Are you just going to stand there all day? Get ready," barked the kitsune masked ninja with a feminine tone. "So this is how they operate, no questions asked, just follow orders," thought Naruto as he quickly dressed in the clothing provided to him. The masked shinobi had made a hand gesture towards him, indicating she wanted him to follow her. Outside there were 47 people if his quick count was correct, standing in formation with the spot where he assumed he was meant to be. Many of the people in the formation were staring at him with confusion, irritation, and a couple with curiosity. Some of them had the famed crimson hair of the Uzumaki clan, while a majority of them seemed rather mundane, looking like they had come from civilian families in Yuzushiogakure. "Attention!" shouted someone, seeing as all of the other individuals in the formation immediately stood straighter, and turned to face the direction to where the voice had come from. Following what everyone else was doing, they stood firm awaiting further instruction. "At ease," said the man. Naruto was able to see him now. He looked rather aged, compared to the others standing behind him. The only way he could tell was the set of gray hair on the man's head. All of them had their faces covered with masks just like the kunoichi from the barracks. The older man's being a kuma, bear, mask. "As you all may have noticed, we have a new addition to the group. Step forward, cadet," the man barked at Naruto. Now Naruto typically wasn't a shy individual. But who wouldn't be when they were called out to stand in front of a large number of people? Complying with the man, Naruto stood at attention. "What's your name? Say it loud and proud now, everyone needs to hear it," said the man in an unyielding voice. The way he voiced it told Naruto that he needed to comply or face the consequences. "My name is Naruto Uzumaki, sir," Naruto had shouted, still standing at attention. The man and the rest of the individuals behind him nodded at him, accepting his introduction. A windy breeze passed by and Naruto realized just how cold it was here. The frosty air seeping into his lungs had started to wake him up. He was sure they were still on Yuzushiogakure, but by Kami was it cold. "Now cadets, on with calisthenics," barked the aged man. Naruto sighed in happiness. Surely it wouldn't be that bad, right? Akane's training had put him in the dirt. There wasn't any way possible this would be harder. 189-190-191-192- Naruto had counted to himself, pausing for just a second to relax and take in a deep breath. By Kami was he wrong? These people were training them to the bone. Not a second later the kitsune masked ninja had struck him with a baton on the abdomen. Lurching in pain, Naruto started to continue his sit-ups. 193-194-195-196-197-198-199-200. "That's enough for now," voiced one of the ninjas. Naruto started to look around. All of the other kids seemed pretty winded. He assumed that the workout had been upped. He had been given a week unlike the rest of the kids. So the kiddie gloves are off, so to say. The actual training for everyone here begins now, was all he was able to think before the next set of instructions were voiced. "Stand up now, we have a short run, and you can rest for a little bit," said the older instructing ninja. Naruto and many of the others groaned. After that workout they wanted them to run some? They had done push-ups, knee bends, leg lifts, you name it, they did it. They had been provided some warm, salty water, but to many, it was the best water they had ever had in a while. At least it's a short run, Naruto thought. Let's get going, voiced the kitsune-masked kunoichi from the barracks. She had been paying close attention to him. Now that he noticed it, certain groups of his peers had a certain ninja following them, assisting the older shinobi in his instructions. At least it'll be a short run, thought Naruto as he started following along. It wasn't a short run. The short run had consisted of running a couple of miles. Naruto couldn't give an exact amount, as he was exhausted even with his reserves. The people instructing them, though, didn't even seem winded, as if this was more a warm-up. At least we're all sitting down now, he thought as he looked around. They were what he assumed was a classroom. Walking into the room, she looked at all 48 individuals in front of her. These preteens were the ones that Kenshin had deemed viable candidates for her proposition, though he made sure that the augmentations she had in mind were voluntary. Thought it didn't matter. With how they were physically training them, the children were going to become exceptional shinobi anyways. She was meant to train them in strategy, human physiology, and continue teaching them basic knowledge, mathematics, grammar, etc. While they beat the physical training and shinobi arts into them, she would be damned if they let their natural aptitude couldn't make the most of their abilities. Gesturing to some actual caretakers, they ushered in and quickly did their job, giving the kids some cold water and a snack, clearing her throat to gain their attention since they were all digging in and not paying anyone or anything any form of attention. Hello, I'm Satomi Uzumaki. I'll be your instructor regarding your studies and strategy. While they build your body, I will be molding your mind to improve your chances of success. If you're not interested, you're more than welcome to continue your physical training, she stated in a strong voice, her eyes scanning all of them, nodding her head when she saw that they were all intently listening to her. Figures most ninja would have a hard time keeping up to that training regime, except for Jonin Nin and up, she thought with a small smile. A rather pretty lady walked in, and she was around 5 feet 5 inches if his estimate was correct. While she was pretty, he would admit she didn't have that regal beauty that Akane had. That was beside the point though, as she wasn't finished with her introductory speech. All of you have been called upon to protect the Uzumaki clan and Yuzushiogakure and her villagers. The road ahead may be a long and rough one, but I'm sure all of you will do just fine. Please refer to me as Satomi-sensei. If you need a question, just raise your hand, she finished while looking over all of them. Hi, Satomi-sensei. Chorus Naruto and the rest of the cadets. Naruto and the rest of his peers listened closely to her. He would sit through the most boring lectures if it bought him a break from what those shinobi and kunoichi called basic training. She had begun her lecture about a certain subject with all of them listening to her intently. Time skipped 1 hour. Honestly, Naruto and the others wished her lecture lasted longer. Not just so they could have a break, her lessons were actually enthralling. She kept everyone captivated about her stories, the favorite being where the second Hokage had sacrificed himself to save his team. While it was, in reality, sad whenever someone died, it was the harsh truth of the world they were being thrust into. Kill or be killed. She also pushed any naive thoughts of honor in the shinobi world. From what she experienced, most of the genin from some villages, mainly the more pacifist villages such as Konoha, believed that there was some semblance of honor in the shinobi world. They told their enemies how their techniques were unstoppable while revealing how their jutsu worked, and how it was impervious to anything they could do. While they continued to yap on and on, a smart ninja would take the time to analyze this newfound information and use it against them, resulting in the loss of the battle. What astounded her sometimes was her clan, the Uzumaki clan. While out in the elemental